Safe Harbour for financially stressed companies. Safe Harbour is a mechanism that is available to directors and their companies under Section 588GA of Corporations Act. This legislation was introduced in September 2017, with the aim to provide an alternate option to directors and officers when a company was in financial distress or at risk of being insolvent. Prior to the Safe Harbour legislation, directors had little choice but to place the company into voluntary administration and liquidation if they believed the company was on the verge of insolvency. How does Safe Harbour work? Well, a director or the board of a company determines they want to undertake a review of the financial position of the company with the aim to restructure and continue to trade the business. The business has fallen on hard times and they want to avoid placing the company into a formal external administration process. In order for the company to be eligible for Safe Harbour, the legislation requires the following criteria to be met. 1. Tax obligations must be up to date for the company. This refers to the lodgements rather than the amounts owed to the ATO. 2. Employee entitlements must be up to date, meaning any amounts due to employees must be paid. And 3. The company must have maintained adequate books and records. Once these criteria are met, then the directors or the board must ensure they implement a course of action that will result in a better outcome than if the company was to go into external administration. So, what does that actually mean? Often what is involved in this process is the development of a restructure or turnaround plan that is realistic and aims to achieve a better outcome for creditors compared to the appointment of an administrator. It is here that the Safe Harbour advisors provides the most value. Once a Safe Harbour advisor is appointed, there are many sessions, board meetings and analytical investigations undertaken to determine what the most appropriate course of action is. A plan is then developed and agreed upon. The legislation is not definitive on approach, so the mechanism to undertake a Safe Harbour process is very flexible. There are no set legislative timeframes, but there is a requirement to ensure that timeframes are set in the plan. You may determine to perform a lot of the analysis in-house and then present to the Safe Harbour advisor the outcomes from your analysis in order for them to investigate and determine whether what is being proposed is realistic. Usually, we also see legal advisors involved, and the Safe Harbour advisor is often engaged directly by the legal advisor to ensure privilege occurs in the event the Safe Harbour process is unsuccessful. Some of the practical steps taken during the Safe Harbour process includes meeting on a regular basis with the board and the nominated employees tasked with implementing the turnaround plan. If it is determined during the process that the outcome will not be better than a formal appointment, the directors may need to pivot and appoint a voluntary administrator or liquidator. The Safe Harbour advisor is unable to be appointed in that role as they have a conflict. There is also the need to monitor the turnaround plan to ensure that it continues to be realistic and that the plan will continue to be a better outcome than a formal appointment for the creditors. Finally, boards and companies should be realistic about how long the Safe Harbour process continues. During the development of the restructure plan, directors and boards must determine what kind of impact it may have been under a Safe Harbour process to normal trading conditions. Ideally, there is usually some sort of key event date that enables the Safe Harbour process to either conclude successfully or unsuccessfully. It is this date that will drive the length of time the Safe Harbour process will last. At Cathro Partners, we have undertaken many Safe Harbour engagements, and we continue to be strong proponents to restructuring a business that enables its survival. The Safe Harbour process allows outcomes that enable businesses to survive. Cathro Partners provide tailored advisory and restructuring solutions to protect, grow and maximise the value of a business. Please contact Cathro Partners at cathropartners.com.au.